Hi, this is Aaron and Linda with Traveling Flamingo, and today we're going to take a tour of Cozumel, Mexico, and the port that you're going to dock at. On the Norwegian breakaway, we were on a 5-port Caribbean cruise, and this is the last Caribbean cruise port that we hit before arriving back in Miami. So stay tuned, and we will tell you what we thought and how to prepare for your day in Cozumel, as well as what's there and what you can look forward to, and whether or not you should have an excursion planned, or this is a place where you can just kind of walk around and enjoy. All of that coming right up.
So we're going to start off with the arrival and departure. So when you arrive at Cozumel, there is a dock, so you don't need to worry about taking a tender to shore. It was also one of the shortest docks at our ports. There are touring rickshaw bikes if you do need some help with mobility getting down the dock, and they go by tips. So the other thing that we'll keep in mind, we'll talk about it a bit more too, is there's an escalator and catwalk. And we found coming back because of our excursion, we were pretty close to our departure time. And the escalator there was a long wait. There was a long wait to get down to the escalator to get back. But as always, you want to make sure that you are giving yourself enough time to get back to your ship before they leave without you.
So as Linda said, you will dock at a pier, and it will be a pier that you can walk down, so no need to tender. There are 2 sort of international ports here that you can stop at while we were at this port. This is the Punta Langosta Mall port. There was the Oasis of the Seas, or the Allure of the Seas, that was docked at another port that's maybe about 10 to 15 minutes away. So there are 2 ports here. This one is the Punta Langosta Mall port. So as you disembark the ship, you'll be right on the pier. The pier's not too long, it's not shaded, it's not covered, so do be prepared. It could be hot, but again, it's not the longest port we were on this cruise. When you get to the end of the dock, there is a washroom facility. There's not many stalls. I think for men there was only one. So, do be prepared that if you do need to go to the washroom, go on the ship or in the mall that's coming up. You take an escalator up over a walkway, and then you're in the mall. And just before you get to the mall, there is also a duty-free shop, of course. And then once you're in the mall, you've got a bunch of different restaurants and different sort of jewelry shops and leather shops. So, go ahead and take a look around. They're a great place for last-minute gifts. Prices were pretty good. They are probably not as low as what you would get in sort of, the true areas. So this is a bit of a tourist area, so I'm sure it's inflated a little bit, but it wasn't as much as many of the other ports that we were at, like Costa Maya and such. Do be prepared. The salespeople are fairly aggressive. So if you've not been to Mexico before, or a lot of these sort of tourist areas, it's not specific to Mexico, you will typically get a lot of the people who are trying to pull you in to buy something, and they're trying to entice you and sort of shouting out to you saying, you need a wallet, you need a wallet. So be prepared for that. That does happen quite a bit. As well, just feel free to say no and keep walking. You don't really need to pay extra for anything here. You don't need to, if you're going to take a cab, of course you pay for the cab, but you don't need to pay to walk around. You don't need to, pay anything that you're not comfortable with unless you're tipping for a performance. They do have a bunch of street buskers and so forth that you'll see in the mall. Of course, if you're watching their show, feel free to give them a tip. The mall itself is an open air mall. You can hear sort of the birds chirping, and you can sort of see the sunshine or feel the sunshine, which is very nice. We had a beautiful sunny day there, which was great. The mall was very clean. They do have public washrooms. It's what you would expect for a mall. There was a theater in the mall as well. They've got a whole bunch of different restaurants, whether that's sort of your Americanized restaurants like Hooters and Starbucks. They've also got more, sort of more local stuff like Señor Frog's, which is obviously a big chain as well. Then they've got smaller, what seems like sort of local chains. I wouldn't say that there was anything that was truly authentic in the mall. Most of it is going to be your chains or, people who can pay for that mall space. The one area that did have the longest lines was there is sort of a COZMEL sign where you can get your photo with the sign, which I'm sure you're seeing on the screen right now. That probably had the longest lines. Other than that, the mall was pretty quiet. As I said, we were there with an MSC ship. I forget which MSC ship, but it wasn't the newest one. It was a fairly small ship, and we were on the NCL Breakaway, which is a fairly large ship. So you're probably talking, 5,000 plus passengers that could have disembarked, and you didn't really feel like it was all that busy.
So I'm going to add a little bit more onto the excursion area Aaron had touched on. So right at the end of the port is where you'll get on or meet with your excursion group. The area is not very big. There is some seating in the shade and sort of like a holding area, but we found most people were standing in the sun waiting. So you will check in with an employee, they'll give you a colored band, or that's what we were given, and told to wait in this holding area. So when we're waiting there, and an employee would come over and call an area or location and a colored band, and people would go with them. But as I said, there was a lot of people waiting there, and I was worried people didn't hear. Other people were sort of calling back anywhere else, anybody going to this place with this colored band. So to try and help people hear, you could just feel the energy. It was very anxious and people were sort of fidgety, and it wasn't really good. And then once your group was called, your entire group would take the escalator up over the catwalk, walk through part of the mall, down a set of stairs, and then you get on a bus area at the back. I would be shocked if people didn't fall behind and get lost. I mean, once we were on the bus, it was great, but that whole sort of experience I felt was a little bit disorganized, and you could tell was definitely causing people some stress. So just know that you don't want to be late meeting up with your group, because if they've walked over, I'm sure that depending who you're with will probably be able to help you out. But get there early, make sure you're waiting and listening for further instructions with your group. And if you are somebody who maybe has some mobility issues or walking can't keep up with the group, that you let them know so they can let you know where to go to get on your bus.
And the last thing here about excursions, we did do an excursion. We went to Playa Mia, which is a sort of a little bit of a recreational facility that they take a bus and drop you off at. Quick tip, it is half the price if you don't go through the cruise company. But of course, if you don't go through the cruise company, as always, they could leave without you. So you're not guaranteed that they won't leave without you. So do remember that. We will put a link to Playa Mia if you're interested in that, or you think that's somewhere you'd want to go. We'll put a card above and a link in the description below. So on to one of our favorite categories, food and dining. So they do have a number of sit-down and quick-serve restaurants. They have like a couple delis and so forth, some very quick places to grab a sandwich or what have you. They also do have a lot of duty-free and alcohol stores, so you can purchase all sorts of tequilas and so forth. Do take note though, if you do buy anything from these stores, you do have to give it to security when you get on the ship, and you will only have access to it once you depart the ship on your last day of your cruise. So you're not allowed access to it while on the cruise. They also have a bunch of different sit-down restaurants. They have your Señor Frogs, they have your Hooters, they have a Taco and Tequila, and these are kind of large chains, right? So this isn't going to be particularly authentic food. They also have some other quick service food. They have a pizzeria, New York style pizza, which I'm sure isn't quite New York style, and they have Starbucks as well. That said, you can walk a bit down the strip. They have a Pizza Hut. They have a bunch of other large stores and so forth for you to eat at. So, they've got quite a bit of stuff in this area. If you just want to get off the ship and enjoy, you can go here, walk around, go to one of those restaurants, and then get back on the ship. So they've got a pretty good variety of different foods. Nothing that I would say was specifically, authentic, like a small family-run restaurant. But they do have a bunch of very large stuff that has good food. So, do try those.
So some things that you should bring with you. At this port, you do not need a towel because it's really just the shopping there. But if you're doing any other excursions, you'll have to worry about that. But we're talking just for the port. You'll want to bring some cash or a credit card. Everywhere we went did accept both. We did meet somebody who used RFID blocking credit card sleeves, and we thought that was a cool idea if you're just bringing a card or two with you instead of your whole wallet, that you could put that in your bag. So we'll add a link to that in our description below if you're interested in checking that out. You're also going to want to have your cruise card, and depending where you're from, you will need photo ID. So you will want to check your cruise line's requirements. We did see some people who were disembarking for the day, and one of their group members had forgot their photo ID and they were having to rush back to try and get it. And if you're heading off to an excursion, you could end up being late if someone's having to go back to do that. So make sure you've checked your cruise line requirements. We also like to take a backpack with us so we can carry any water, sunscreen, our camera, any small purchases we get, we throw in there as well. So we find that having a bag with us is usually pretty helpful. Another really cool thing that we use is a 2-in-1 travel power bank. So what it is you can plug it in the wall and it has 2 USB charging ports. But then when you are going off on excursion, you can take it with you and use it as a power pack. So we think it's pretty cool. There is cell phone reception in Cozumel, so a lot of people are taking the opportunity to connect with social media, connect with family and see what's happening in their social media. And, having this to keep your phone charged is a great idea as well. So a link for this is also going to be in the description below.
So overall, we really enjoyed this port. I wouldn't say it was our favorite port necessarily on this cruise. They have a really nice shopping port where you can get your last minute gifts if you need them. They're clean, the employees we met were friendly, a little aggressive on the sales tactics, but you get that. You can put a bunch of different cruise ships here and you don't really feel too crowded. And if you want to pay for a beach experience, you can go ahead and do that. We would recommend you pick an experience here because, it's a mall with a bunch of shops, which is great if you're into that. But it's a good opportunity to go on a cruise experience if you would like to, or an excursion. And the docks were nearby and it wasn't too far to get to, which is also great. Again, pretty good port all around. We enjoyed it. If you want to just sort of wander around and enjoy Mexico, a pretty safe place to do that. Cozumel is a very popular tourist area. So, overall, we really enjoyed it. We would go back here again, but we would pick a different excursion. We, again, did Playa Maya. And again, if you're interested in that, there'll be a link to it below.
So we just want to take the opportunity to thank some people for commenting on our Harvest Key video. Thank you, Keith Mahoney. Yes, beer is very expensive at the ports, especially Harvest Key. Cindy Lou, we hope you enjoy your paddleboarding. I'm sure it will be amazing. And Freestyle Travelers, Harvest Key is one of our favorite ports, and we agree the swim-up bar and huge pool are awesome. So thank you very much to everybody for watching. If you have any comments, if you've been to Cozumel before, what did you think? Anything we should add in, change? We really appreciate you guys watching and commenting. We're so thankful to be able to be part of this YouTube community. And thanks for watching. Happy travels.